So I'm in the fenced garden now. So I installed these T-posts over the weekend, and I just put the fencing up yesterday. And it's really janky, but I like janky. It's fine. Everything I have is janky. But it's also on a steep slope. You can actually kind of get an idea of how steep it is right there. This entire, our property is on a slope, and there are rocks everywhere. We have somewhat poor soil. It's not fantastic. So I'm gonna have to amend all the beds. I did amend the tomatoes when I put those in, but I am gonna have to do that for every bed that I put in. And I noticed I just put in some passion fruits yesterday. Those are vines, and I'm trying to get them to grow up this fencing. This is cattle panel. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it's just a 16-foot panel. It's a little taller than 4 feet. It's for deer protection, really. And I got this idea from Roots and Refuge Farm. They do some really awesome stuff. They usually use it for trellising, but I thought I could use it for the garden. And I didn't want to, I hate roll fence because I always get my fingers pinched, I get cut. This is so much nicer. It's kind of unwieldy. I did have to carry the panels myself up the hill and, you know, attach them and everything, but it wasn't that bad. A roll of something would have been awful. I hate that stuff. So I'm hoping that this keeps the critters out, well, the deer anyway. It won't keep small stuff like rabbits and mice and things like that. So we might have to do some roll fence along the bottom just to keep the little ones out, but we'll assess, we'll evaluate that and do that when the time comes if needed. For right now, I haven't had those issues. But the passion fruits, let me show you what they look like. They look really sickly right now. And I think it's because I didn't put any compost on them yet. So my goal this week is to get some compost for them and put some on there for them. So this week has been all about meeting challenges and finding solutions for them, because you know, that's kind of what we have to do. I'm sure everybody has their own challenges with their garden spaces, and you just have to work with them. And my challenges are that I have traffic. I have a rocky hillside, you know, it's a slope. I've got that septic field, which I can't really plant in. I can plant on top of with the fabric, but that's it. And so yeah, I'm limited on sort of where I can plant. So I have I've been trying to, you know, brainstorm about how I could best use the spaces that we have here on this property and work with nature. And it got me thinking about forest gardens and food forests. And another great channel, if you are into gardening, check out James Prigioni. He's got a really great YouTube channel as well. I think it's just called the Gardening Channel, but it's Gardening with James Prigioni or something like that. He's really great. He's in New Jersey. Roots and Refuge is in Arkansas. So anyway, you know, Prigioni has a really great food forest, but he started on a piece of flat land and there was nothing there other than grass. And I'm kind of dealing with, you know, I've got trees in the middle, of my my garden patch, and so I have one tree that I planted, which I'll have to move next year, and then I've got 2 stumps that I'm gonna have to tackle this year just so that I can get a little bit more space. They aren't taking up too much space though, and the little tree isn't shading anything out right now. It's too small. So, but I was thinking, you know, I read a lot about forests and food forests, and I thought, well, how in the heck can I use my forested hillside to bring me food without cutting down the trees? I don't want to cut anything down. We have tremendous ecosystem already happening up there, and I didn't want to disturb that in any way, but I thought maybe I could add to it. We have service berries and we have pawpaws growing up there already, and I decided on two things that we're going to put up on the hillside. You saw was the mushroom beds, and the second thing is going to be ostrich ferns, and I'm going to be planting those so that we can harvest fiddleheads. I have heard and read that you shouldn't harvest other ferns to eat because they cause gastric distress. You should only do ostrich ferns. I don't know if that's true, but if somebody knows, great, shoot me an email or something, let me know. Make a comment below. I'm not sure. I do know that that ostrich ferns are okay to eat. So my goal is to plant those along our pathway up the hill. So we have a little bit of work to do to get our path back. But I do have ostrich ferns growing down here. Actually, there's some right there. You can see my ferns. I just planted those last year and they're doing great. So I have high hopes for planting ferns up on the hillside too. I know we'll get something good out of them. It takes a few years for them to get established to the point where you can harvest stuff, but I feel pretty confident that we could get some good, a good harvest off of them within a few years. So I wanted to encourage everybody to use what you have, use the spaces that you have, and be creative with the hand you've been dealt, so to speak, and maybe think about some creative things that you can do in the space that you have. I happen to have a shaded, forested hillside, and I'm using it to my advantage. In addition to the spaces over here, the one that I cleared with the fence around it, that didn't have any trees in it. The trees, the stumps that are there, actually, those trees died. So we cut them down because they had died, and that's why the stumps are in there. We didn't just cut those down for, you know, to put the garden there. So just know that that didn't happen. And I put the oak there because I really love oaks, and I wanted to, I love bur oaks. They're just such a great tree. So I'll just have to move that up the hillside a little bit. It's not a big deal. And I need to do some work. There are blackberries galore. Let me show you the blackberry patch because you're gonna be amazed. The blackberries just grow like crazy here, just naturally. And we also have raspberries too, but the blackberries right now, it's mostly what they are up there. All the white flowers up there are blackberries. So some of those are gonna have to go because I need to make a pathway up there. And I also much prefer these, which are the black cap raspberries. These are the ones that I tip layered last year. So I'll keep the raspberries. I don't really like the blackberries as much. They're kind of they're not the best flavor. It's a really seedy blackberry, so overly seedy, which blackberries are normally seedy anyway. But these are overly so. So anyway, that's up there. I'm gonna be taking out just a little bit of the blackberry patch. Probably right around there, and then leaving the rest to grow. And then up at the top of this fenced area, above it, where the fence line is, I'm gonna be clearing some of that stuff out. That's all junk, and I'm gonna be putting in my raspberries that I tip layered, so that I can just go right outside the fence and get them. The deer don't touch those, so they don't need to be inside the fence. I'm not gonna waste my fence space on on things that don't need to be fenced. So anyhow, so that's the lowdown this week. All the things I've gotten done, and yeah, I feel pretty accomplished that I got the fence up. I do need to figure out a gate system for the bottom and the top, and it'll probably be pallets because that's what I have on hand, and it's janky anyway, so why not add a janky gate? So anyway, I'm not concerned too much as long as the deer can't get into it. It really doesn't matter what it looks like to me as long as it functions, and as long as I'm having fun, I don't really care. So that's the goal for this week, is to put the gates on and to get some other things planted. I'm gonna have to build in a new terrace, and there's so many rocks up on our hillside. I'm hoping to be able to find enough to build another terrace level, because I have peppers and some more tomatoes that need to go in that have to be trellised, so I'm gonna be using the fence for trellising for those. I need to put in some beans, just all kinds of stuff. I hope to be able to do that in the next week, and you know, get moving on that sort of stuff. And yeah, my herb garden looks like crap. Stuff did sprout. I did get sprouts. I just don't think this spot is sunny enough for an herb garden, so I'm gonna have to rethink this for next year. I have some great stuff in here that consistently comes up, like my milkweed loves it here. I don't know why, it's not sunny. Lemon balm, which I'll keep. My thyme looks great. And it could be that the plants are just young and they have not established yet. So I'll evaluate at the end of the year to see if I need to move my herb garden to pots, or if I can keep it here, or if I need to put something else here. I'm not sure yet. So we'll evaluate over the season and see what we get. But all of my little seed, the ones that I planted as seed, are really tiny. So I'm not super hopeful on that, but the milkweed's doing great. So this is kind of like a mishmash patch of herbs and flowers for pollinators and for us. But right now, honestly, this Nepeta, look, you can even see the pollinators on it. Honestly, this Nepeta is probably my best pollinator. I had flies on it, all kinds of bees. Just, this is what they're coming to right now, is this Nepeta. So I'm definitely going to keep this patch here. This is was a very good choice. Yay, I made a good choice. So I'll definitely be keeping it here. But we'll have to evaluate other things as we go. And anyway, I'd love to know your challenges, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below, or hit me up on Facebook through Messenger or something. I can answer that way as well. People send me pictures a lot. You know, what is this, or why is my tree dying? Those kinds of things. Sometimes I can answer, sometimes I may not know, or there may be, you know, a bunch of different things it could be, so I'll do my best. But at any rate, I wish you the best in your gardening endeavors, and I'll check back in with you soon. And other than that, I'll catch you outside.